Okay, fellas, wanted to give you an update on the fund drive. What I was talking about, buying a second camera, and so far we've had $40 contributed, and I am incredibly grateful for that, for anybody who's ever bought or donated anything. So if those of you don't know, I put out a video last week that I was wanting to add a second camera, probably buy a second GH4, rig it up very similarly to this. Whereas this GH4 is on a tripod, I like to have a second GH4 on a monopod so I can get a lot more B-roll shots while I'm on the river. And I put in the description a itemized list of how much it's going to cost to get everything, and so that you can see where all the money's going to go. If you contributed, you have added to the value of this channel. Now, here's the thing. Let me show you something. You see this? You see that? You see that? All of that is loss of motion and play in my current pan head. Now, the tripod itself is fine. This tripod can also be converted to a monopod, and that's how I get a lot of my B-roll shots that you see. You know, the flower shots and all that kind of thing, the barge shots. The head, where the camera actually sits on, I can pan, I can tilt, I can do all kinds of things. Although I don't do a lot of that, it makes easy adjustments for what I'm doing. It's completely shot, as you can see. I can no longer trust this on the boat because I have the camera mounted here, and I'm sort of sitting in the back of the boat and the camera's just shooting, and when I'm riding along, the waves crashing and things like that, that thing is so loose, I cannot figure out a way to fix it. I cannot figure out a way to adjust it. I've hammered it, I've tried to tighten things up. It's just shot. It's just shot. While it's okay for something like this, because the camera's stationary, I can't use it where there's a lot of motion and vibration. That thing will fall off, and I can't afford, you know, I can't afford to lose my camera. So what I did was took the money from the $40 that was donated last week, combined it with the money that came in, that I have patrons on Patreon that pay every month. I combined that and I bought a new pan head. I just bought it yesterday before I went out fishing. I didn't film yesterday on fishing because this thing's broken. But it should be in next week, and I'll probably do a review on it. But this should be a far more substantial pan head. There's another reason why I want to have a second camera, so I can actually do some product review. I really want to do a lot of the product reviews that I have on this camera, like the tripod and the microphone and the cage and the audio processor preamp here, but I can't because it's over there. I'm over here, so I need a second camera to look at it. Someone mentioned that a GoPro would be a good solution, and I think you're probably right. I think what I may do there is approach some other companies to see if they would be at least willing to send out a camera on loan that I could review, do a review, actually work the camera review into a show and do some reviews for it, and that way that company can have some notoriety that way, actually using it that way, and then I just send it back to them, and they can, and that'll be it, and then make a decision whether or not I'm going to buy it based on the performance I get there and how it fits into what I'm doing. That $40 is going straight to making the channel better, replacing a defective part here, having something that's far more substantial that can, because this camera is rigged up like a cinema camera. The only thing I'm missing is maybe an external recorder, and I would basically have a cinema camera, and just using a GH4 is a cost-effective solution for that. The codec that records here is not very great for color grading, although many of you seem to like the colors. This is just the color straight in the camera, but I'm babbling now. It's Saturday and I got to get out more videos, so I'll probably see you next week. Yes, I did get those blades in, so I need to do a video showing the blades on the new lure. I'll probably do that next week. Oh, yeah. One other thing, the motor. Yeah, I'm running 93 octane gasoline. It's doing better, but the knock does return at the end of the day as it normally has, but it seems to be somewhat less pronounced than it was on previous trips. So what I did was bought a 38 thousandths jet to see if we can enrich in it, because I think what's happening is the mixture is perfect while it's idling. Well, the moment you go up to high speed, high RPM, it's leaning out. That's making it overheat. That's giving me a knock. The 93 octane is helping, but I think we're going to try to enrich in it a little bit more, because these carburetors, there's no switch to control the mixture of the richness on the high end side, so you just have to put a whole new jet in. And so I'm running a 38 thousandths jet now, which is considered a standard jet. But I think one of the things I've learned about these motors is that you tend to have to enrich in them a good bit more than you would for a go-kart or a what do you call those things, mini bike or something, because we're running at high RPM for miles and miles and miles on end, as opposed to just an eighth of a mile stretch. More fuel, that fuel will actually cool off the engine. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but you can use the fuel to help cool off the engine. The channel cats are biting heavily on night crawlers. That's what's biting now. Night crawlers, night crawlers, night crawlers. That time of the year, they're just feeding heavily on night crawlers, the channel cats. The blues, I haven't been able to find as much, but they should be more predictable as the water starts to cool off. Just fish for channel cats the same way you would bluegill, and you'll catch tons of channel cats. That's been my experience. See ya.